Yes, guys, welcome to another episode of Fight Talk Live. It's episode 25, Fumbling the Bag. It's Danny Glover. It's October Red. We're in the building. How you doing this evening?
Listen, I'm good, man. All the better for seeing you. It's a dynamic duo. We're back again. I like this though. Like I said, it's reminiscent of the old days when you used to set up the lives on IG and you used to tap the link, October Red invited. So yeah, it's like the old days again. So yeah, good to be here, Danny. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's all good, all good. So, what you been up to lately?
Um, what have I been up to lately? Do you mean stuff I can talk about online, or
Yes, absolutely.
are we keeping this professional, Danny?
As professional as you want it to be.
What have I been up to? I had a little bit of a low profile. Sorry about the sun. I'm probably going to need to shut these blinds. Um, done a couple of lives. Done a live with Frank Smith from Matchroom. Little cheeky catch up with him before they had their presser the week after for the Warriors Code, which is obviously Jack Catterall versus Harlem Eubank. Did a live with young Lucas Rohrig, cruiserweight, going into fight number 5. Recently signed with Wasserman Boxing. Yeah, spoke to him as well. And then obviously did some beautiful coverage over on the Matchroom Warriors Code. I went up to Manchester. I think it was the Tuesday. So ticking over, keeping busy, staying in the mix, putting out the feelers. You know me, it's British boxing all day long, isn't it?
Yeah, I hear that. And but this week it's been very USA heavy, but we're gonna make do and do what we do. But
You do.
a lot of it's kind of newsworthy anyway, rather than going over the fights. I did manage to catch the main fights on a lot of them, but I think the main topic is the talking points this week of what's been happening. So yeah, shout out to those in the chat early doors. Shout out Philip Hansa and Despect87. Much respect to yourself, sir. So yeah, let's get into it. First things first, you brought up earlier in the week to us when you dropped in the group about Jaime Munguia failing for performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, I think that was base that dropped that in there still.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, you know me with the American Connect. I'm slow on that. Anything
Oh,
British, I'm on it, but American.
yeah. So, yeah, he's busted for performance enhancing drugs, some kind of testosterone thing. He had a rematch with Bruno Saras, who knocked him out late last year in like what was that? The upset, one of the upsets of the year.
Interesting.
And he was in Bruno Saras was invited to the Ring Magazine award show. He got an award. You saw the rematch. Um, Jaime Munguia, he teamed up with Eddie Reynoso. He was
Yep.
being trained by Eric Morales prior. So yeah, what's your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are let's test the meat. You need to
Mm,
understand the full diet. Just saying. Look, when it comes to the PED stuff, it is what it says on the tin, and you fail it, and that's it. And then it's up to you to prove how the stuff got into your system. Because I'm no expert on it, it's a pass or fail. He's obviously failed the test. That's down to him. You know what it is. You fail a test, we get the automatic statement. I never did this, blah, blah, blah. And then either there's a full investigation, they get a ban, or it's overturned because there's some inconsistencies, either in the chain of the tests going to the lab, coming from the lab. It's really techie. And because it's so grey, and because to me, it's just not handled properly, I keep out of it, Danny. I really do. When it comes to the drugs, I just keep out of it because it's not open and shut. It's
yeah,
supposed to be black and white. They call it strict liability, but it never is because you can fight your case.
yeah. So let me read what exactly has happened. So VADA, this is the post I did on Insta. VADA informed all relevant parties on Wednesday that Jaime Munguia's A sample returned with adverse analytical finding of exogenous origin of testosterone metabolites. So that's some kind of lose weight business. Following a urine sample, what is testosterone as well, on May the 4th, when he defeated Bruno Saras, the sources said Munguia has 10 days. This is from the 4th. Oh no, well from Wednesday, so yeah, he's got a few days left. Munguia has 10 days to request analysis of the B sample for the exogenous origin of testosterone metabolites. Um, so yeah, that's he's got a case to fight. Um, the B sample that usually comes back the same as the A sample,
Yeah.
99% of the time. Um,
Well, it's the same. It's the same sample. They just split it into two. They take one sample, they split it into two, A and B, and they
mm,
use the B in case there's any discrepancies, which there is with the A, because we're very. It's not all the time that the B sample gets checked. It's only if there's a discrepancy. So, what can you say?
well, here's my opinion.
Yeah.
It's funny how as soon as he's gone to that camp, this Eddie Reynoso camp, they've had about 5 fighters who've busted in the
This
past.
is what I'm saying. Somebody said that on Twitter. I know obviously Canelo did with beef.com because that was before. But what happened? Who's the other ones? Because
Um,
that's clearly gone over my head. And this is the ignorance again with me. So hands up for that.
yeah, there's I forgot the names of the people, but
Let me
there's
see if it's on Google.
yeah, they're about, but there's about someone said 7, but I think there's about 5 I remember from this camp.
Yeah.
Uh, Shout out base if you can get the names for us also and Maestro who these fighters are who also in the Eddie Reynoso camp. But it's funny how you've gone there
Mm.
and now you've been busted. But also what it lets me know is that knockout has affected him very badly mentally because you've been knocked out by someone who is a non-puncher. This guy,
Oh right. Okay.
yeah,
Mongia. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because Munguia is known as a tough guy, and Bruno Saras only has a handful of knockouts from what I remember. Let me see.
Right. Oscar Valdez
Yes, he got
in
busted.
2021.
Yeah, he got busted when he fall when he knocked out a man brutally. It was one of my favorite fighters. Um,
Let's have a look.
he knocked out a knockout puncher of when he
Robson.
no.
Robson can.
Oh, was it Robson Consal?
Yeah.
Who
Something
was it
like
he
that.
fought before that?
Oh, it was ahead of his fight. Okay. Bear with 1 second. Do do do. It was obviously the fight before that, wasn't it?
Yeah, wait,
The test
I'm sure it's
obviously
the
went
one where
ahead
he
of it.
knocked out what's his name? Um he knocked out the Brother Vicious with the overhand right,
Okay.
what flattened him. But yeah, he was on this. Yeah, that's it, base. Miguel Burchell. Thank you very much. Yeah, that one. That's when he got busted. He was on the juicy. Um Bon Scott has got some names for us. Canelo Alvarez, Jaime Munguia, Oscar Valdez, yes,
Yep.
Luis Nery, yes, Julio Cesar Martinez, I didn't know that
Oh
one,
my gosh. Okay.
and Ryan Garcia. But Ryan Garcia wasn't with
I thought he was with
Derek then, so
Derek James.
yeah, he
Then
don't count. He don't really count on that
he is
one.
popping up on the names. Ryan has popped up under the Reynoso name, but we know that he was trained by Derek James. Then
Yeah, but because he's been part of that camp before, they're probably alluding to that he was on it from then. But I can't really, you can't really put it on a
no.
Reynoso for that. But what it lets me know is that mentally he's very fragile at the moment. If he feels he has to take it because um, Saras is not a puncher. He's only got about a handful of about 5-6 knockouts
Yeah.
in about 20 something fights. In the trade, we'd say he couldn't punch a hole through a wet Rizzler sheet, but he's
Wow.
managed to knock him out.
Wow.
So
That's a
he's gone
claim.
in there in a rematch thinking, "Wow, I need an edge," and he's
Yeah, but what's the point though? Because this is going to happen. Is it Varda again?
yeah, Vada. But there's all these strength and conditioning, physical education people. They tell you, listen, I've got the trick. You just take this and you take that. This will cancel this, but it's getting really stringent now, and he's been busted, and it's not a good look. So he's fumbled the bag because this could either get overturned or he's going to get a loss, something. So he's fumbled. Saras is now back in the game, and yeah, it's not looking good. because if that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so he's got what, about 6 more days to come up with an answer. He's pleading his innocence, but
The generic statement,
yeah,
Chat GPT.
yeah, it's that old chestnut, in my opinion.
It's up to
So
them to prove their innocence, isn't it? But a fail's a fail. Simple.
yeah, so it is what it is on that one. Um, Also, we had on the weekend. No, so before that, Tiafimo Lopez. He's
What the hell's he done? Didn't he tweet something disrespecting His Excellency and then deleted it? But I think somebody screenshot it.
yeah, he done a couple of tweets, but the one that I think got him, as he said, fired, is where he put uh, a picture of him and Turkey, Al Sheikh, His Excellency, and put dictator, but he spelt it,
Oh no, I didn't.
but he spelt it
Yeah.
in the organ way.
Why would he
Yeah,
do that?
yeah, he put the capitals for the DICK and then Tater and underlocks. Um, yeah, I don't know what he's on.
Yeah, but why would he do that though? What's the issue now? Didn't he just get paid to fight in New York?
Yep, I don't know. He's saying something, some discrepancy over money. Where this is weird because this is how I know must be some kind of he's off key because I've never heard anyone
Say that
moan.
my man and give them their proper peas.
No, but I've never heard anyone moan about money. I've never heard no one moan about any kind of wages, any kind of offers, any kind of. You saw Eubank. Eubank's like, damn, I should have asked for more.
Yeah,
I
and
went
that's
too.
Eubank.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying I went too low. So what I don't know what this brother's on. Then he's tried to come to the black community, which unfortunately, a lot of these,
Who tried to come to black community? Tio.
yeah, like trying to ask for help. Um,
Ask for help. Ask for help with what?
you know what happens, yeah, when
Isn't he
people get
always
into the
cutting off
fire.
black people?
I
Come
know,
to black people for what?
no, but when you get into trouble, all of a sudden, I've got a black abuela. I've got a black
Oh,
abuela.
behave.
That old, we're black and brown, we're in this together. That old chestnut. So he tried to come to pleading for black unity or black and brown, we're in this together talk.
Oh,
It's
he
like,
did
hold on.
not.
No, we're monkeys and all that kind of stuff. You hold your own nuts, as Tariq Nasheed says. So yeah, but now he's apologized, as they all seem to do, and he's asking for that forgiveness because he definitely doesn't want to be a dustman for real.
I don't even know what to say when it comes to him because he's all over the place. A really talented boxer, entertaining person, but his personality, I don't know. I don't know why you'd say that.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's a madness. Base, how you doing, man?
What's good, Mr. Ever Present? Always here, even when I'm not.
Omnipresent, yeah. Come on.
Something like that. By the way, just before you guys carry on, I didn't get I was hitting up Tony for the details for today, right? And lo and behold, he didn't want to get back to me. So yeah, we're gonna have to put that on hold for. You got another couple weeks.
It's all right.
Tony,
I was ready. No, me and Base, we was gonna dance. We was gonna have a dance today.
Well, I mean, tell them properly because people in the chat go and look at that a lot different.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
No,
what, a
man, that
spa?
Star Fox will be in the yeah.
homelessly. We was gonna have a spa. We was gonna have a little.
So what happened?
The organizer, well, the venue router, they're not available at the moment, so we're still in the process of locking down the venue, and then we'll get that sorted.
You're going to stream it?
It won't
No,
stream it, but it will be recorded, and only the lucky channels will get the access. Maybe might do members only. Not sure yet.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah, but yeah. So yeah, Base. Let us know what's your thoughts on what's his name, the
Tio.
takeover.
I mean, I've told you my thoughts. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. He's very much a racist, regardless of what he wants to say. Because if you can be, even if you're not technically saying certain things, which he's very good at skating the line or trying to
Mm.
almost go to the edge and not quite jump, the fact that you're happy to use that as your marketing tool says all I need to know about you. So yeah, he's. I mean, look, he's an idiot. He's regardless of with him and Turkey, the issue was he was offered a certain amount of money to face Ennis. And when
Oh,
Ennis said that he was not going to take that fight, he's not even sure if he's going to stay at 147.
147.
They get offered him money for Haney, but the Haney fight was on much less money than, well, I don't know much less, but it was less money than what he had agreed for Ennis, and so that's what he got upset about.
Okay, but that's understandably so. That the you see, well, we saw both Tio and Haney on the same card. They didn't perform. No one ain't really trying to. It's all about you're only as good as your last fight, and that's not really sellable, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like I said, Tio's an idiot. Tio thinks that he is this huge megastar. Never sold more than 5,000 tickets at any show. He's never been in a big hall show, and he's never been on pay per view. Apart from this one in Times Square, which wasn't about him to begin with. He was
Mm.
third from bottom. So at the end of the day, he thinks he's this star. He thinks he's entitled to this money. He don't generate anything. The same way how when he got that money for Triller, they had to back out and it got forfeited to Matchroom because they couldn't generate the money needed that they made for the purse bid. But some people just got overinflated sense of self, and he's still delusional, calling himself a two division undisputed champion.
October. What's your thoughts on
Yeah,
this?
like I said, he's just from when what's his name Crawford had to like step to him, like just walk up to him and like say, "Yo, we can see what you're doing. You need to stop it." And he was like moving all crazy, moving all shook. You know what he's on, and he's one of them kids that shouts at you, calls your names, and then runs off when it's time to stick it on him. But at the end of the day, you got a check, you got paid, the Times Square, like you said, the performances compared to the week before were subpar for the majority of the fighters on the card. So obviously, when you're in new negotiations with the amount of money that they spent on that Times Square, the amount of money that the fighters got from them, you're gonna have to look at it and think, okay, we've got to deal with economics now. You're only as good as your last fight, like you said. So let's work a workable, feasible strategy around payment. So if you've got an overinflated ego or you believe that you're worth more than you actually are, this is where the conflict is. But writing things on Twitter is just not the way forward because, His Excellency's got spies all over the place. He's probably got somebody watching this now. That's what they do. They watch everything that you're doing. So it doesn't matter. You can tweet and delete and whatever. They know what you're doing and they'll catch you for it. We know how they operate because you've seen when certain people used to get to go to shows and they ain't turning up anymore. So
Mm,
imagine if you're a fighter and you're trying to get some change and you're mouthing off. What's going to happen to you? You're just not going to get paid, are you?
yeah, real talk. Um, yeah, also based. I know just before we was on the subject just before. I think you called it the bit of it. What's your thoughts on the?
Well, Jaime Munguia.
Yes.
Look, it happened, didn't it? We just got to wait and see what he decides to do with this B sample. He put out his statement. I've never, I've always been tested. I was tested twice, nothing came back, and now this one, cool. I'm very much of the opinion I don't cast
Mm.
any aspersions or names to anyone until the investigation's concluded. It doesn't look good for Eddie Reynoso and that camp, as so many people seem to be failing there in some form or capacity. If it's a case of anything in sort of some of the food supplements or the food that they're eating, then they need to stop eating that food and get their food imported from other places. That should hopefully stop all of that. But otherwise, it is what it is. If he's doping, then cool. Just do better with your cycles next time. If you're not, and if it's just an accident, we'll find out. And if he even if he gets a ban, here's the problem: he's only going to get a ban based on the UK and Saudi territories. He's not going to fight in either of those places again, so it doesn't matter. Because VADA have obviously done it, but UCAD were the ones and the BBBOC are the ones that ran the show. All they can do
That's
is
it.
ban him from fighting in their territories. And the US and the Mexican governments and their bodies are not going to adhere to that because he's a good ticket
Thank you.
seller over there.
Yeah.
And in those states that he fights, Vegas, Texas, and in Mexico, he's going to make their money. So while they don't have to adhere to that ruling, they won't. So he won't fight over here again. Doesn't matter. He's still going to make his money. So what's the point?
Might as well not even do it then.
They didn't even think about that because yeah, he could just go Guadalajara and have a few fights while he's serving his ban because there was even the Guadalajara show
The other
um
day.
on Friday. So yeah, and he's obviously no, that's where Canelo's from, his teammate. So he ain't really gonna feel it. He ain't gonna feel no pinch to his pockets. Um, but yeah, well, let's go to some of the fights on the weekend. First off, there. Well, I don't even know which one to start off on. Technically, on Friday because there was two shows at once. There was Golden Boy Promotions and there was Matchroom, both at the same time. Um, I just watched the main events of both. There was Bektemir Melikuziev versus Darius Fulgham, and there was Manuel Gallegos versus Khalil Kotu, the rematch. I think, yeah, let's start with the Khalil Gallegos rematch because I think most of us thought that Gallegos was going to knock him out again because I did. Um,
Okay.
I
I
did.
did. You didn't?
I thought Cole would beat him, but I thought he'd beat him on a unanimous decision. I didn't think he'd get a stoppage only because of the possible, demons or whatever that come with a knockout loss. But he told people at the start of the show, I mean, at the start of the week, look, I was ill leading up to that fight. He said he'd been hospitalized twice going in, like when he was in camp. Obviously, we look at it and say, oh, it's excuses, but he didn't say any of this at the time. So you say, okay, fair enough. Um, but we would still say, well, it sounds like excuses. However, looking at the performance he put in this time compared to the performance he put in last time, makes me believe that probably there weren't excuses and there was actually some truth in it. The jab was perfect pretty much all night, couldn't miss with it, broke his nose in the second round with the jab, upstairs, downstairs, barely got caught with anything himself. And it's actually funny because if you watch the first fight, he performed like that in the first fight in those first two rounds,
And
exactly
then
the same.
gassed.
He bossed it. He was controlling it, but I have a feeling that he wasn't sure of his gas tank and was
Mm.
like, "All right, I know that Pacheco got him out of it, and he was the weight division below me. I've got to get him out of it. I don't know if I can last 10 rounds." In retrospect, watching that fight back, that's what it looked like because he decided he didn't. In the first fight, he went straight into the pocket from like round three onwards and gave Gallegos more opportunities than he had prior in those first two rounds. So you could tell someone's done that for a reason. But in this fight, he stayed to the game plan, stayed on the outside, not even full outside. He was in range to strike, but close enough that he could actually get out of the way and avoid the shots coming back, dipping underneath, tying up when needed. The right hands were coming in nicely, some uppercuts, body shots, stabs to the body, backhands to the body. It was just a very, very competent, composed, and class performance from someone that I've always had a lot of time for in that light heavyweight division. And maybe it was just a blip. We'll have to wait and see what the next sort of performance says. But it looks like Big Stepper, still ain't nothing to step to right about now.
Yeah. Did you manage to catch the fight, October?
No.
Do you see that? Any highlights of it?
I did see the highlights,
Oh,
but I'll see. I'll wait and see with him. Do you know what I mean? I know he was a big hype. He had a chip on his shoulder going into the fight, quite rightly so. Because if he lost again, he'd probably get dropped. Because it's kind of like you lose two and you're gone. So he made a statement and he's kept his job. Let's see how he gets on moving forward.
yeah. So yeah, I watched the fight. As Bay said, good jabs, but he was using the jab and then swinging the right hand over the right hook. So he was slamming them in. That was seeming to be the trick. Galagossi was working the body. I was thinking that those body shots would have broken him down again because I did think that Galagos was going to win just based off of last time. And even though I know last time people were saying something about Cole didn't train properly, he
Yep.
did the weight badly.
Yep.
I just thought maybe this guy's not dedicated enough. So I thought that Galagos would take advantage of that because he is a big, strong guy. But Khalil Coe obviously could tell that maybe, as you said, um, so his signing is on the line because Eddie Hearn said he only wants to deal with guys who he feels can win a world
Correct.
title. So he said two and you're out. So he's thinking, I need to do this. And you know, that's a when I was talking about Hamid Mongia showing mental fragility, Khalil Coe has shown mental strength because he got beat on his coast down the road in Philly, even though he's from New Jersey. So he got stopped in 9, and then he's gone over to Guadalajara, Mexico, in Galagos's ends, and he's gone and taken him out in 6 rounds where he's in the corner and he's not really he didn't want no more, or his corner waved it off. Something happened in that corner where it got waved off basically. So he's gone to his backyard now and dealt with him. So big stepper. That's a good statement there. So yeah, big player in the game. He's 9-1-1, and it's 7
10-1-1.
10. Oh yeah, yeah, because they haven't for some reason they haven't updated the thing. But yeah, 10-1-1, 8 KOs. Sorry now. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him because he's a force, definitely a force. Um, another yeah, and then over on the Golden Boy, Bektemir Melikuziev, he fought
Darius
Darius
Fulgham.
Fulgham. I've never even seen Darius Fulgham fight until
Ain't ya?
no, until
It's
that.
all right.
Yeah, but he's a good fighter. Until that, see him, I was like, "Oh, okay, he's a good inside fighter. He will definitely come again. Melikuziev, it was points where I thought he could kind of get to him and get him out of there. But I don't know if he had like his engine needs working on or his conditioning because it's like he would hit him, rock him, and then he would like step
Stop.
off because it's like you don't want to go in for a finish just in case he'll blow up.
Hesitant.
Yeah, hesitant. Or
He's
maybe
still got demons.
yeah, it's good point there, base. I was thinking maybe you don't want to walk into one of them. Um, oh, bloody hell! What's his bloody name?
Gabe Rosado.
Yeah, that's it. One of them gave Brazado shots and get caught, but that was a good 12-round fight. And yeah, what's your thoughts? Did you manage to watch that one October at all?
Highlights for that one because I like Darius. Spoke to him a couple of times, so it was a good fight, a tough fight for him, and he's still quite early on in his career, isn't he? Because he's one of these that signed to Pro Bellum, so he was sort of on the fringe of potentially fighting in the UK. So that's how he first came to my attention. Obviously, when that went to the grave. Obviously, he ended up over with Golden Boy, and we saw that the promoter saying that we're going to start making these fights more difficult. We're going to start to put them in the 50-50 fights. And that's what we saw because he suffered his first loss, didn't he? So, but he can come again because he's still young in it, and that guy was just something else.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Base, what's your thoughts?
Golden Boy doing Golden Boy things. Very, very I've said it a few times. I'm quite happy to say it on this channel. And there's people even maybe they might even be in the comments, so they may see certain things that I've said previously. If you look at Golden Boy, Oscar talks about like 50-50s and like the best fighting the best and all of that. The only people on his stable that he will quote unquote match tough and match from early happen to be of African American or dark skinned complexions and
Wow.
orientations. If you look at the way he matches someone like Jaime Munguia, the
Yeah.
way he was matching someone like Alexis Rocha, and these guys, they don't get put in those big tough like eliminator or let's see what you've got sink or swim things from
Serious.
Rashidi Ellis was the same. Even the only person who kind of wasn't going to get that treatment until they started talking and then obviously backing out of fights was Floyd Schofield. You can see it. But that aside, I don't think it was too early for Fulgham. It wasn't. He maybe could have done with one more, but they were of a similar ish type level. And I guess maybe you think Melikuziev, because of his style and because of the way that he fights, there are some openings there.
Yeah.
With that being said, I thought Fulgham would get the victory. I thought mainly because ultimately they need more American stars right now. I thought it might be a political victory, be a close fight, be a political victory because they need some more people that maybe you can market. Obviously, speak English or speak Spanish. Melikuziev does neither. There's not a very big Uzbek contingency in the States. He's on their roster, but who's really going to the shows to watch Bektamir? It's not very
True.
many. So I thought they would get it based on, on that. It was close. The scorecards, all of them seemed to be 7-5 because it was all 114 to 112, which was obviously a point deduction for Melikuziev and then a knockdown in the 12th and final round for Bektamir to just seal it. If he had of not got that knockdown, chances are it would have ended up being 114, 113
Morgan.
to Darius Fulgham. So it was a close-ish fight. It was a fun enough fight to watch. But again, if you anyone who has if you look at the rest of their fights, just keep an eye on how
I will now.
people get matched. That's all I'll say.
Didn't even clock that.
1 second. Yeah. So yeah. Well, that kind of makes perfect sense because I remember famously when Oscar De La Hoya wanted to sign Errol Spence, and he was like, "No, no thanks. You don't treat black fighters right over there."
Oh, what?
So
Wow.
yeah. I remember he did that tweet. So yeah, Oscar's always had a bee in his bonnet with black fighters. I
What?
remember
Because of Mayweather?
no, before that, even back in the day, I remember he said one time, no black man can take my power."
Oh, did he?
Yeah, back in the day, he was like, "No black man can take my power." He was on that tip. So yeah, he's always been on that.
Because it was obviously African American versus Mexican, right? That's the rivalry that sells. So
Right.
play
Yeah,
into it.
Okay.
yeah. So and yeah, but even a man like who was it? Yes, yeah. But he ain't even Pernell Whitaker really. I thought beat him. So he proved that that was a myth. But yeah, but great fighter Oscar. But yeah, he's he was doing a bit of a madness back then. But it is where it is. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend African American or even Afro Latino fighters sign with him.
You know that I never clocked that. But like I said, I ain't got my eye on it, so I won't clock it.
Yeah, and all of Oscar's losses, to be fair, was to African American fighters, except his last one to a Filipino. So yeah, he's always got that little bee in his bonnet. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, over to the last fumble of the bag. Unbelievable. This weekend on Saturday, we saw a double header co-feature in Jamal Charlo back against Thomas Lamana, and we had Caleb Plant versus Jose Resendez. This was to build up their fight. Everyone's seen the viral sweet hand slap,
But yeah.
and yeah, the show didn't quite go to plan, but as you always said, October. Well, I'll let you get it off actually, because it's when you said anytime people try to make plans ahead,
Oh,
it seems to always flop.
yep.
So
You wash your
yeah,
mouth, innit? Washing your mouth, man. I'm surprised that. Do you know what? I can't even say I'm surprised that Caleb lost because I don't know much about his opponent, and I'm just clocking all of this stuff on social media. Like I'm like you purists. I haven't watched the fights, but yeah, obviously it was the Charlo that he was supposed to fight. Is that the Charlo with the girl that's like proper on it? Is that the one with the girlfriend that will like punch you up, or is that the one with the weak girlfriend?
The weak one.
the week
Jamel's
one.
got the strong.
Okay,
So
so I get them mixed up. They're obviously I don't know if they're identical, but yeah, I was looking forward to that fight. But I don't know what happened with Caleb. You guys are gonna have to break that down because why did he lose? Obviously he lost, but what happened?
split decision.
Oh, it was so. What? So was it a genuine loss then?
I,
Was it?
I haven't seen all of it. I was in and out of sleep watching it, but from what I saw, it looked pretty much like Racindes was just doing a lot more, being a lot more active, landing a lot more shots. Couple rounds he had Caleb looking a bit wobbly.
Yeah.
Um, Caleb just didn't really throw anything. Didn't like he had his feet under him after maybe 3 rounds. Um, Very lazy output. Looked like he was just trying to find the one sweet counter punch. Like he's a knockout artist, which is not his bag.
No.
I don't know. There was just a lot in there, and I think just the constant pressure that Racindes kind of put on him. We all know he's got a gas tank problem, and it looks like he was just in there with a guy that wanted it more,
Okay.
even though a guy who's not nothing special.
Mm,
Caleb, he might be shot. He may literally just have had his moment and he doesn't, and
wow.
he's not quite there anymore. That's the possibility.
So what do you think will happen if he does go up against Charlo then? With that Charlo that we just saw on the weekend?
Well, Charlo didn't look that great, to be honest, but
Okay.
he did what he needed to do. Although being said, he did have a much easier opponent. Like I would have
It's
expected
one of
Caleb
them
to
then.
beat
Okay.
Lamana as well. Um, but then you will get up for the Charlo fight because I guess you can maybe lose a shot to Racindes, but you can't
Mm,
lose to Charlo. That was probably how he would look at it. So I don't know. It will still be an interesting fight. Charlo says he still wants to have it, and Caleb can still take that fight, or he can
okay.
take. He said he's got a rematch clause against Racindes, so he could enact that if he wants to. So yeah, like I
It's a
said,
good
he just
point.
might be shot. It just might be time to, unless you want to be that guy that they put in front of the new prospects.
Oh, that breaks my heart. That does.
He's made enough money. He doesn't necessarily need to do it again. So I know he's got another child on the way, but he doesn't exactly live the most lavish of lifestyle. So him and Jordan should be fine. Maybe you try that rematch. If you don't get past the rematch, call it a day.
Wow.
Mm, yeah, yeah. He lives a proper Southern boy life.
Okay.
So he'll be all right for money, and his woman, she's got a career too. So he's definitely not strapped for cash. But at 32 years old, with his style, which is based on speed, reflexes, um, I think he is slowing up his legs. Even when you're looking about his last fight against McCumbee, he's getting hit with shots he wasn't necessarily getting hit with before.
Mm,
His legs are slowed up. His work rate wasn't there last night. He was getting hit with sweeping shots as he's circling out.
yeah.
His hands were down. Normally, be able to do the
Yep.
old the slick white boy moves, but he didn't. He just didn't have them, unfortunately, and he was getting caught with big shots by Lamanna, who's 15-2 with 11 KOs. Not a massive puncher from what I could see, but he was a strong puncher. Rocked Caleb a few times in there, and Caleb's holding and stuff like that, trying to recover. Um, and as Bay said, I think his time is done. Well, his
Oh.
time at the top is done, but it's not. I wouldn't say he's just had a little moment because you got to remember he kind of burst onto the scene properly in about 2019 when he beat Jose Uzcatagay for the IBF title. So you're going back. You're going 6 years ago, and 6 years ago
So is that a run?
he was 26 years old. He was the same age as what Lamanna is now.
Okay.
Um, so, and with that style, the reflex and stuff, that's the first things to go, and that's the worst thing when you are a reflex fighter.
Mm,
That's not really you kind of age faster in the ring, unless you're willing to adapt your style. But I don't think he's really got that thing where he would really adapt. As Bay said, he's now trying to do this. I'm a big puncher when you're not a big puncher. Yeah, you've landed some nice knockouts in your time, but that's the way you've set up the shots and the way you've placed it and
mm,
stuff like that. Rather than you being an out and out banger. So I just think it's one of those ones where his time at the top is coming to it has come to a close. It's unfortunate because um, everyone does want to see the Charlo
mm.
plant story, fold out properly because Charlo's saying, "Yeah, I need to get my lick." He said in the post fight, "I need to get my lick back" because he's not trying to get clapped. He needs to see him, as Broner says. You got to see me, whether we sparring or we fighting. You got to see me. So
Ronan,
I
man.
still want to
What
see
a
the fight.
wasted talent.
I still want to see the fight, to be fair, but
Mm.
I think Charlo should just run with it straight, just go into the plant fight because a man has disrespected you. Forget all that. Oh,
Imagine getting slapped like that.
yeah. Forget all that. Oh, you've just lost. Nah,
If it was the other twin, the girl would have jumped in and punched him up.
yeah. But
I
you've
like
clapped
that
me
one.
now, so it's personal. So we need to fight.
Mm.
So yeah, and then maybe this will be Caleb's swan song, but maybe he might be really up for it because there's some real fire in it. But I don't know with Charlo, even though he did have a lesser opponent of the two, I do feel that um, if it was last night and they thought that Charlo would have got the win on going by last night. But yeah, speaking about Charlo, um, yeah, he fought Jose Resendez. Um,
No, Thomas Lamont.
sorry, Thomas Lamana, sorry. And yeah, he dropped him rounds 3, 4, 5. He was dropping him all over. Really, they could have. He kind of got robbed of a knockout in about round 4 because really should have. They should have. But he's dealt with it soon after, in my opinion. So it weren't really too much to write home about and cry about. But yeah, he's definitely not prime Charlo, but he's still got enough where yeah, he's still TV worthy, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
What did you think based on his? Oh, you said you weren't really that
I
impressed.
saw little bits of it. Like I said, it was just average. It wasn't a great fight, but he did what he needed to do. He held up his end of the bargain. Caleb Plant didn't. Simple as another fight before the fight that goes wrong.
Also, yeah, so good question. Actually, I see something about Top Rank and PBC both moving to Amazon Prime. Have you heard much about that? And how do you think that's going to unfold? Do you think they're going to do some kind of matchroom Queensbury link up?
Top Rank they've got a few different broadcasters that they're going to be working with. It hasn't all been announced yet, but yeah, they're going to do a little bit on Prime. I think they're going to have a couple of dates on the zone. I think they're also going to have one terrestrial channel where they have a few dates as well, probably for maybe their upper echelon shows. They what's his name? Bob Arum the other day about a month ago did speak, saying that they were forming some form of not partnership, but they had some kind of agreement in place with the PBC to start doing more cross promotional matches together. Um, because as far as I remember, Shaki Foster is supposed to be taking on Stephen Fulton at 130 for his WBC title, and I think there's a few other fights that they're trying to look to make together. So I think in relation to the whole Perkial Shake takeover and taking all of the best fighters from each individual promotion, I think they've said, well, look, we can't be on our own islands anymore. We have to kind of join forces to give the
Yep.
fans fights they want to see.
Yep.
Otherwise, our fighters are not going to get seen.
Yep.
So I think they do have that in place. But the PBC, from what I've seen, are still only really looking to put their second tier people in cross promotional bouts. Any of the quote unquote A-listers, you're not going to see them against the top ranked guys. They're going to stay on those PBC only shows. I'm pretty sure of it. Uh, Outside of that, one thing I will comment on very very quickly from that same card. I've seen him fight once or twice before, but Yoelni Hernandez, the um the Cuban middleweight that was the third fight from bottom against Kyron Davis. He looks the goods. Um, I liked what I saw about him. He's very much in that mold of Osleys Iglesias, David Morrell. Very put together, very good defense. Lets his hands go, good movement, good step. Like if you haven't watched that fight, I thought he'd stop Kyron Davis, to be honest, but he did drop him in the second round. Pretty much won every round. Um, had Davis's face all busted up after
Nice.
round 5, 6. Just Davis managed to stay on his feet. Congrats to him. But yeah, Yoelni Hernandez, remember the name. He might be a force in middleweight in 2 or 3 fights.
Take your word for it.
Yeah, no, I saw the highlights of it where he dropped Kyra, and I was like, "Oh, that's impressive." And then in the last round, he was like, come on, step!" Like he was getting real animated while he's punching him up. But Kyron was still trying to fight back. He's always shown heart, as we saw when he got mash up by my nephew. But yeah, Iglesias, yeah, he looks the goods. So I definitely will keep an eye on him. How old is he? He don't look
27.
okay. Yeah, he don't look too young, but yeah, that's a good age. So
Philip said Manny Robles trains him.
oh, okay,
Interesting.
yeah. So yeah, he did look good. But yeah, October. I don't know if the interview's out fully yet, but thank you for asking the questions that we all want to know. I see that you are speaking to Sonny Edwards.
Oh yeah, they're all out.
Oh, he's out now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that one out. But yeah,
Mm.
it was good to clear it up because some people was thinking it was a high five, but I knew it wasn't no high
No,
five.
he just went on his head,
Yeah,
and that's what I said. I said, "Look, I've been sent the video, and it's like, was that because I listen? You sometimes it is banter. Sometimes you just go and punch someone, and it's like, oh, they punch you back, and the camera's just caught it that time when they're punching you back. So I had to ask him if it was banter. You can't be like stirring up rubbish and you don't know what it is. But according to Sonny, no, he didn't find it funny, and there was apologies. But I thought, you know what? Okay, before I start any arms out online, I'll just leave it there. It wasn't banter. You got an apology. I didn't feel the need to probe it anymore.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for getting that cleared up.
But you
Much
sent the thing in the
appreciated.
chat in it, and I was like, "Hey,
Mm. But it's good that because I think that also you ask the questions, but it's the way you're able to ask it in a way because, and I think that it does it because say for instance, I was because sometimes people when it's man them people don't yeah he tried it, but
oh, fair enough."
yeah, so I think maybe the way you ask things,
You know what? I see myself as mandem as well, and it so it's like you're saying that I get it because I am a girl, I am a woman, but
yeah,
I see it the same way. So,
mm,
because he weren't going to do any interviews, Sonny was like, "Nah, I don't want to do anything today." But because it's you, and then obviously when I got in there, then everybody gets him. But obviously everyone uploads their videos quicker than me, so he would have been asked that question 1,000 times after. It's just the clip that I chose to put up on IG because it was a topic.
yeah. I didn't see anyone else's clip. I weren't interested in
Okay,
those. So yeah, for me, I think
yeah,
your one's the most relevant. But yeah, no, yeah, that's good that that got cleared up. Also, now, did you want to say something?
yeah. I want to find. I was just going to put the feelers out in regards to what on earth is happening with Anthony Joshua. 2 fight deal, 3 names mentioned, 2 fight deal with His Excellency. What's going on? That just scrambled my brain for a bit. I saw Ade put up potentially him and Dillian. Then I ran with that and then put Dillian and Anthony up on mine saying, "Yo, what's going on?" And then I'm hearing potentially who's he say he's going to fight now? There's some other names come up, but whatever. I don't know
Well,
what's going on with him.
well, I saw him doing some kind of face to face with Manuel Char, the Joker.
Are you
Um,
joking?
yeah, well, I saw it popped up on my Instagram timeline. Them two face to face. Dude, I don't know if it was banter or wait, banter, but I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, I did hear the Dillian White name
Yeah,
and Gerard Anderson as well. Gerard
really, Jared
Anderson.
Anderson.
That's what I heard from. I think it was on Ade's channel. Yeah, I watched it on Ade's channel.
Might as
Uh,
well fight Bacoli.
yeah, but I just thought, well, it seems everyone's trying to fight Bacoli now. This
But
bit.
they're not though, are they?
I know, but even the Lawrence thing, I see him firing shots at Richard, but it didn't. To
That was
me, that
funny.
he didn't come across well in that because basically that sounded like I'm ducking because the risk to reward is not worthy enough. I'll rather go after a Martin Bacoli because he's so called a bigger name. But this guy is on bad form, yeah. And you're trying to pick easy pick as a man who doesn't look dedicated. All he cares about is whining his waist in the gym constantly. Um, so you'd rather not go in with Richard, who looked quite devastating in his heavyweight debut. And he's looking serious. So really, Lawrence, you got the
Kind of big
jokes.
as well, isn't he?
You've got the jokes, and I see Henry tried to put a thing in the comment, but it didn't really pop this time,
Yeah, the
bruh.
only the only thing that didn't look good for Lawrence in the comments, and I've been trying to catch up with Lawrence for a minute, is when he was quizzed on his injury. That
Yes,
wasn't that wasn't bottomed out, and it's like, okay, it's sort of like been glazed over. Let's forget about Richard. Let's, like you said, let's go for Dillian White. Let's go for Martin Bacoli. And you've got to think about his position with the WBC. He's WBC number one. So there's nothing wrong with fighting Richard. If you're going to fight Martin Bacoli, if you're going to fight Dillian White, there's absolutely nothing wrong with fighting Richard Riakporhe. But then if I say that, I'm just being biased because that's the fight that I want to see. But even Spencer Fearon's resurrected the conversation. So it's still a talking point. But I think with that fight now, it's more of a fight like we have to resurface it so it becomes relevant in the main boxing arena, because that's like the fight for the streets, isn't it? That's like all of us, like the underground guys that want to see that fight, that know the history around it. All of us are part of the history of them two having that fight. But it's like, has it been pushed to the surface? Is this a good enough fight for His Excellency to look at it and say, oh, they've had a bit of grief. They both turned heavyweight. Okay, is it a fight that they'd put on? Richard's had his debut out in Saudi on one of the Riyadh cards. So His Excellency's got his eye on him. Is that a fight to make it heavyweight? I'd say yes, but like I said, I could be classed as being biased. So I don't even know if it. I don't know. I like to see the fight. I don't see the point in him calling out Dillian White and Martin Bicoli.
Yeah. Base.
Okoli. Um, Look, he's gonna do what he's gonna do. Uh, Henry's gonna say what he's gonna say.
Love
He's
Henry.
gonna back his brother as he's supposed to. Personally, I say that you should be cleaning up the work you've already got on your plate, but I was also the person that said I needed the battle of the uncles. So I'm happy for him to face Martin Bacoli at this point. And I
Oh yeah.
want him to come in at £265 as well with the beer belly. I need all of that sauce. No pun intended. So if he takes that fight, no problem. But truthfully, he does need to see Riakporhe, even though he is correct in what he said on the Sky Sports broadcast that ultimately Riakporhe is a 34-year-old prospect. I'm a two-weight world champion, which
Is that what he
he's
said?
right about. He said that, and unfortunately
Okay.
he's correct. So Riakpo hasn't done anything at this point to say that he's on that level, but Okoli could be the one that he needs to prove that he's on that level. You had the fight with him. You've had this mysterious injury, which nobody knows. And normally you will hear something about what the
Yeah.
injury is, whether it's a doctor's note or not. They'll say, "Oh, he had an injured elbow. He had a broken rib, busted eye socket, whatever, maybe broken, fractured hand, or whatever." Normally, you hear in this. This is the first time I've heard radio silence about an injury, like nothing even being alluded to as to what the problem was,
Mm-mm.
and then immediately straight after that, putting your putting your name in the hat for Portland Road
Dillian.
and no
Oh
Fabio.
yeah, yeah, Fabio.
So this was only a couple of weeks after that fight took place. So yeah, I mean, look, it all looks suspect. Richard says, "Look, this guy, he's talking, he's doing all the funny stuff. He just doesn't really want to see me." Maybe that's the case, and maybe he feels like a Dillian White at this stage of his career, who we all love Dillian, but he's not his best self. We can all say that, and maybe a Martin Bacoli that's only got two or three good rounds in him is something he feels like he's got the speed
Pickens.
to move around him for a couple of rounds and then take him out. Maybe. But yeah, like I said, I want the Riakporhe fight, but I'm quite happy with the Battle of the Uncles. So if that one happens, I've got no complaints.
Yeah. Yeah, that was mysterious because even the day after he pulled out, I saw him. He was on the boat with Gallagher, which was
Yeah,
very
but that
strange.
you can still be injured and be on a boat though.
No, but it just
In
looked.
his defense, a boxing injury could have hurt his shoulder, or if you said like you saw him on the pads or something, then I might have went whoa. But on a
Mm,
boat,
yeah,
come
but I
on.
don't know because yeah, he had some funny jokes where he said, "Yeah, you're a 35-year-old prospect,"
I need
and
to watch that. I
and
ain't
he
watched.
said, and he also said, he goes, "I just find it strange that you're calling Mike McConaughey big bro when you're older than him."
Oh, he did. I tell you what, Lawrence Okoli's got lyrics.
Yeah, he is
He
funny.
is funny as hell. I love it. You see all of this because he wasn't doing none of that before. He was like behind the scenes, just going out there to fight. But to me, I love his personality. I think it's brilliant. He's a joker. He's funny. He's witty. He's sharp. He knows how to embarrass you. Like I said, he's one of them that will embarrass you at school and make you feel stupid in front of the class. He's good at that.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, AJ, I saw him on the pads with somewhere in the Middle East. It looked like he was doing these left hooks and jabs and left hooks. Look. Yeah, it seems like something's obviously wrong with one of his arms because he's only seems to. Anytime I see him working out now, he's only using one hand. So something he's
He
obviously
didn't look very relaxed on the pads, if you ask me.
yeah, something's wrong with one of his arms or his arm. Something's wrong. He's had an operation, I've heard. So yeah,
Elbow.
yeah. So something's happened. I don't know if he's got a tennis elbow or something, but
No, it's fragments. Uh, to say what's his name? Joseph Parker used to suffer from it. He used to have regular not surgeries but procedures to scrape out the calcified bone
Okay.
by the elbow joint. From where you throw it so much it like chips and then it just calcifies over. So yeah, that's what the injury was.
okay, yeah. Because I think I noticed he does have kind of those calcified things, even with his knuckles. You can see you definitely have arthritis when it's all said and done.
Poor thing.
Yeah, but hey, listen, that kind of money, I think that's a fair trade.
You reckon? Your health.
But your hands, like some arthritis in your hands, you can get that. You can get that from not doing nothing. You get arthritis in your hands not doing.
Just get some what's it called, cyclone or whatever that Floyd used to put. Just put that in there. Don't punch anything. It'll be good. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are you thinking then? Because I want Basie's opinion on this because he's like team Tasman fighters. I need to know your honest opinion because I've spoke to a couple of people about Justice Honey versus Fabio Wardley, yeah, and Dave Allen. I did an absolutely fantastic piece with him, but unfortunately there was no sound, and it was an absolute gem of a conversation. But I can't put it out because there's no sound. He was saying on paper, he said Honey is the better fighter. He's more technical. But he said, obviously, when you see Fabio fight, you could say that Fabio could win. But I spoke to a couple of people and they're sort of like siding with Honey. And I'm thinking, what have I missed here? What am I not looking at? Because I'm not writing off Fabio Wardley. I refuse to do that. Refuse. But I don't
But
know.
is it writing him off to say that someone will beat him? It's just it is what it is, isn't it?
Somebody with a lot less experience than him as a professional, yeah, I feel like I would be writing him off.
A
That's what
lot
I'm saying.
less. Okay, so all right, so look, if we're talking about fights, he's
Yeah,
Fabio's had 7 fights more as a pro,
yeah.
but Justice has had a lot more
Amateurs.
amateur bouts. He's won a lot as an amateur. In his very first pro fight, he won the Australian heavyweight title, which is basically their equivalent of the British title.
Yeah,
Um, and if you want to go through their records and who they fought,
opponents.
Justice has technically fought better level fighters than Fabio has.
That's what Dave Allen was saying. He says on paper.
Kevin Lorena is better
Mm,
than Fraser Clark and David Adelier.
yeah,
And what's his name? Nathan Gorman,
yeah.
which are his best wins.
Allen was
Unfortunately,
saying the same thing.
so yeah, and Andrew Tabiti is probably on par with a couple of those too.
Oh my god, I forgot he fought him.
Yeah, so he's fought some good guys. Yes, he's fought a lot of like nondescript Australian opposition, which obviously, that's what they had available, fair enough. But if you look at the actual level of guys that he's fought, he's actually fought a higher level than Fabio. So even when I watched the face off and Fabio was saying he's not been in there with who I've been in there with,
Yep.
not done what I've done, I'm looking at it like that's not totally true. Like you might have higher profile because the people might be high profile
Yeah,
wins in the UK, but Lorena is, like I said, Lorena is better than anyone on your
yeah.
resume.
But when
And
you look at the styles, though, base. When you look at the styles of boxing, how do you see that going? Because look, Honey's. I'm yet to be convinced on Honey. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I don't
Mhm.
mean that in a disrespectful way. So when you're looking at Honey beating Fabio, which I'm not saying that he can't,
Hmm.
right? I want you to tell me what you're seeing that I'm not seeing when it
I
comes to
haven't made,
skills.
well, look, I haven't made up my mind yet. I've literally was doing my predictions for my boxing email group that I'm in, and that's the one fight I'm stuck on.
Okay.
I need to go. I'm going to go back and watch. There's a few
Yeah.
fights I need to watch to kind of get my idea. But look,
Gauge it.
here's the thing, right? So Justice, he has quicker hands than Fabio. He's got
Okay.
faster feet. He's got he's got better movement, and he's more technically sound. Fabio has the power. He has the strength. Like Justice is not. He fights best when he doesn't try to think he can just punch someone out of there. Like
Like
even in his
I
earlier
do with the Rainer,
even in his
yeah.
earlier fights when he used to knock people out, it
Mm,
used to be by boxing. He used to box them, get them tired, wear them down, and then take them out. Which he said he wants to do here. When he started trying to bang with people, that's when he
yeah,
was giving people opportunities to fight back, and
yeah.
he's got pretty good powers of recovery, but we've seen that he can be hurt. The one thing I don't like is Fabio in that thing said, to quote Deontay Wilder, you got to be perfect for 12 rounds, I only got to be perfect for 1 second. I don't
Yeah.
like that
Neither do I.
because that
'Cause we all
tells
know
me
that
that
ends up.
you don't think you're going to be able to win the rounds.
Yeah,
You're going
yeah.
to set him up for big shots, which you might land,
Mm,
but he just might outwork you for the
yeah.
entire time. And if he can
I,
stay away from those shots, or if he's got good powers of recovery, or he's able to get hurt but tie you up and stop you from advancing, like he did with Lorena in the second and the 10th round,
mm,
you could end up losing the fight just off of the work rate.
okay.
So it's a fight where either guy has got the ability to win or lose it.
Mm,
Um, I'm not writing either person off. I I'm undecided as to how I'm leaning on the fight, but all I
mm,
say is people who just assume that Fabio has the better pedigree because of his quote unquote wins. If you go back and look through,
the
his best win
records.
doesn't stack up to Justice's best win. That's my opinion. And yeah, like I said, you guys will get my prediction on Friday when I finally decide to go into it. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a very interesting fight regardless.
Even Dillian told him to quiet his mouth when he was talking because he must have said a couple of things, and Dillian was like, "Quiet, man. You don't need to tell him all them things." Blah blah. Like Dillian was like, "Shut it." Do you know what I mean? But it's just intrigued me a little bit. And when Dave Allen was like laying out what you said, Dave Allen more or less said exactly the same what you've said. And it's like, damn. And now I'm going to have to go back and think about it. And now I'm going to have to go back and watch his fights. Because
Watch the Tabiti fight.
I will watch that one actually.
Watch the Lorena fight. Watch
I'll watch Lorena one.
the Kiki Latelli fight as well. That was a good fight to watch.
Okay, and watch.
And watch the Joseph Goodall fight. Those will probably be the best ones to kind of gauge
All
what
right.
level he's at.
Yeah, not to mention that even as an amateur, he's got wins over Terramona Jr.
As he.
Yeah, he beat Terramona.
And I like Terramona.
He beat Fraser Clark. He beat Base's guy Richard Torres as
The
well.
American. Interesting.
So yeah, he's well he's well seasoned and
Damn.
decorated. So yeah, but I didn't even know that he said that about the Wilder
Yeah,
thing.
he did.
That's I don't like that because that's when you start. That's when
You're relying on power.
power
Mm,
talk, and that's when it's not really. I don't really like that when fighters start talking like that. But it's interesting that both these opponents now, because I remember even when it was Big Baby Miller, a lot of people were saying they felt Big Baby was going to stop Fabio and they thought he was going to run him over. And now you've got Justice Honey, who's a completely different style, but now they're saying he's going to outbox Fabio. So Fabio's up against it in both of these fights. So this homecoming is looking very difficult.
ooh. And if Eddie gets that win as well, because you saw that it's literally like his adopted son, like that's gone over to Queensbury, left him. This will do wonders for Eddie's ego. Do you know what I mean? I always looked at like from the promoter's side as well, and I can just imagine what that win will do for Team Matchroom after they suffered the 5v5 loss. So I think
Mm.
that will be, you talk about clawing things back on the scoreboard. And yeah, I know it's not about the promoters, but this one kind of is because Fabio's kind of like left Matchroom, gone over to Queensbury. Eddie's got this young, fresh thing that he's going to put to him. Do you know what I mean? It's techie, and I like it.
Yeah, but it's also I see Eddie. He was really doing his job there because he's really trying to put seeds of doubt in Fabio's
Uh,
brain.
He was putting seeds of doubts in all of our heads
No,
because
but
I'm
the way
sitting there
he's looking
thinking,
over, looking round at him,
yeah, because
like,
he knows him.
mm,
And this is what I'm saying. It got Fabio talking that much that Dillian had to tell him, yo, quiet.
yeah, he rattled him.
Yes.
But Eddie, yeah, but that's the thing. When he has these fights, this it's a deep thing, you know. Because when these promoters they get you in these offices, you have these
Imagine.
meetings. Because even when you're talking about your next fights and what plans and strategies and options, they get you. They start picking your brains. They see what type of fight you are. They ask your
Psychologically.
trainer, "How's you doing?" Da, 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 da. They know people around. They know you. So Eddie would have known what type of things will trigger. So it's very interesting.
Because it's like Eddie built him up, and then my man left him for a new gal, in it. That's how it works, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
Eddie built him up to where he is. Eddie got him that status, and then obviously he left and went to Queensbury. So it's kind of, oh, is this what we're doing?
Yeah, and the thing is, when Eddie got him, he wasn't getting no fights at all, and he was yeah, he was on the verge of quitting boxing and going back to the offices. And then
Hmm.
obviously Dillian, he reached out to Dillian. Dillian put him on,
Picked him
but
up,
obviously via Eddie. Eddie's giving it. So yeah, as you said, Eddie's thinking, hold on a minute, it's kind of the Lady in the Tramp story. Like, hold on, or the pretty woman, like, come on, I took you off these streets. Like,
took
I
you off the
put
streets.
you up, and then you go and left me for my man. Done better.
Listen, that would be personal for me. I'd be telling, well, I think he said Terramona, I've got his name. I'd be telling Honey all the secrets. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
be telling,
Terramona can't give secrets because he got beat by her. Sorry, what am I talking about? Yeah, Honey beat Terramona, but
yeah,
yeah. Sorry, yeah. It is what it is.
until it is
Um,
what it isn't.
oh yeah. Lastly, I wanted to give a tribute to
Mm.
our great uncle, Mike McCallum, the original body snatcher. He passed away yesterday, unfortunately. Um, the best Jamaican born fighter that ever lived in boxing, free weight world champion,
Mm-hmm.
beat a plethora of fighters, beat the likes of Steve Collins, um, beat Michael Watson. These are the guys that Steve Collins. He beat both Ben and Eubank. Michael Watson knocked out Ben, got robbed by Eubank in the first fight, was winning the second fight till the unfortunate happened. So Mike McCallum dealt with both of them. He knocked out arguably the biggest puncher pound for pound in boxing in Julian Jackson. Um, yeah, so he's very very serious fight. Had two great fights with James Toney. The first one ended in a draw, controversially. Most people feel that Mike won that. The second fight, James Toney did win, and that was fair and square. But hey, that's the great Hall of Famer James Toney. Um, never been knocked out. Granite chin, IQ super high, great body puncher, great technician, and will be sadly missed. And the boxing gods will definitely be looking down on him. So yeah, much respect and rest in power, champ.
Yeah, yeah.
Any
You
anything
said
to
it all, man. You said it all.
Yeah, and there you have it, guys. It's another episode of Fight Talk Live. Be sure to subscribe to October Red Media. Be sure to subscribe to Base the Kid at the Hardcore Casual. Be sure to subscribe to Fight Fan TV Live. Go onto the Instagram, the TikToks, the Twitter slash X, Twitex, as Base says. And yeah, even follow Fight Talk Live, the channel. Um, we'll be doing things more sporadically. It won't be structured, but we will hopefully give you guys notifications so you can lock in and stuff like that. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in and riding with us. And until next time, remember, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is.